Scary. An adjective used to describe people, places, pieces of media that provoke fear. Some might consider horror movies or old houses to be scary. Others might say that certain animals make them feel uncomfortable. Personally, what I find to be scary, besides what I used to look like in high school, are old Adult Swim bumpers. The kind of bumpers that could give a person goosebumps and wet pants at 3 a.m. Like many of you, I too understand that growing up as an Adult Swim child was a blessing and a curse. The curse being that we had to sacrifice our well-being just to be able to watch some of our favorite shows. And by sacrificing our well-being, I mean we had to endure some very creepy, unsettling, and even scary commercials and bumpers at a young age just to make it to the real program. Now, I'm not blaming the network for exposing us to scary commercials at such a young age. I mean, at the end of the day, it was all our fault for staying up late and falling in love with Aqua Teen and all the other shows on the network. But damn, some of those nights were loaded with creepy bumpers. Although I'm an adult now who loves the lore of the network and doesn't find a lot of the old bumpers that scary anymore, the memories of hiding under my blanket while Mima was laughing at me will never escape my brain. Today, I want to go back in time with all of you and relive some of those terrifying bumpers that really used to make all of us tremble in our fish slippers. Yeah. If you guys are excited to relive your childhood nightmares, then drop a like. Let's aim for 6 likes. But with all that said, let's get wild. The Dawn is Your Enemy. The Dawn is Your Enemy was a very eerie sign-off bumper that aired towards the end of the Adult Swim block between 2005 and 2010. It featured a sketch-style illustration depicting human-like eyes peering over a field full of flowers and trees. A sun with a face could be seen as well. For a brief but unsettling 10 seconds every morning for 5 years, this haunting image would appear on screen, accompanied by an equally creepy audio track, which is just the first 10 seconds of a hip-hop song titled Violence is a Menace. The Dawn is Your Enemy is probably the most well-known bumper from the network, as it's become the topic for some creepypasta stories and rumors. Adult Swim has even brought the bump out of retirement a couple of times since its last airing, like the Dawn is Your Frenemy bump, which aired back in May of 2020. Personally, I think Adult Swim should bring back the bumper permanently and keep it in circulation for all of eternity, but that's just me. But back between 05 and 010, this bumper used to play right at the end of the Adult Swim block, and every single morning before school, I would see the sign-off bumper play, and well, it was pretty unsettling to say the least. I don't believe that I was necessarily creeped out by the artwork though. In fact, I believe the audio scared me the most. And rightfully so, because it's just 10 seconds of this ominous, unexplainable, or indescribable sound. Even now, knowing that it's just the intro to a hip-hop song, I still get chills whenever I hear the audio. The Heart She Holler. The Heart She Holler was an old Adult Swim horror comedy that aired between 2011 and 2014. As part of a marketing campaign to advertise the series, one of the characters, Mima, was featured in a bumper. And this bumper was, well, it was scary. All right, that's all I could say about it. It was genuinely scary. The commercial is 30 seconds of Mima laughing at the camera while blood splatter slowly spelled out the Heart She Holler. Like I said, this bumper was scary. Probably the scariest bumper in the history of the network. However, Adult Swim took this bumper and did the unimaginable with it. They began splicing this bumper into other advertisements on the network. It was basically a jump scare, and it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair, man. As a kid, I was extremely uncomfortable whenever this bumper aired. These days, I don't think the commercial is that terrifying, especially since I now know the context behind it. Whereas when I was younger, all I saw was a creepy demon-looking lady on my television, and I would either turn off the TV for a couple of seconds or hide under my blanket or whatever. It's still creepy, but I wouldn't walk 500 miles and then walk 500 more to get away from Mima now. In fact, I welcome Mima, as Scott Stapp, the lead singer of Creed, once said, with arms wide open. Clown Kids.
You play dirty! I don't want to play with you anymore! See if I care!
A long time ago, Adult Swim began airing bumpers featuring old footage of children in school covered in clown makeup and being followed around by CGI animated Adult Swim characters like Frylock and Carl. There are a couple of interesting features about these bumpers that make them pretty creepy to me. Number one is these clips look like they came from an old horror film. Number two is the audio used for some of these bumpers is very unsettling. And number 3 are the character models for Frylock, Early, and everyone else. They're just really disturbing. So the footage used for these bumpers originated from a 1976 movie titled If Mirrors Could Speak. The film is basically about a talking mirror that displays misbehaved children as clowns and tries to help them become better people. Although, after watching the film, I will say, Jesus Christ, the 1970s really didn't have a clue about mental health. This kid got dunked on by a talking mirror because he was sad. That disturbing audio I mentioned previously also came from this film. It's so freaky, I can't explain it, but the sound of the audio, it just gives me this feeling of unease. I personally believe that the film by itself is creepy, and also backwards in a number of different ways, but Adult Swim's edition of Aqua Teen and Squidbillies characters takes the clown kid bumpers and elevates them to new terrifying heights. Granny PC. Adult Swim back in the day used to display several bumpers revolving around an elderly woman interacting with her computer in a multitude of different ways. Most of these granny bumpers are pretty innocent. Like there's one where her computer feeds her a taco, there's another one where they have some champagne, and there's also one where the hand is even helping her remove her glasses. And judging by that seductive look on her face, it's safe to assume that this lady is having a blast with her computer, right? Well, no. You see, things take a very dark turn when the woman, over the course of a few more bumpers, becomes what I could only assume is possessed, maybe by a virus or technology or something. And ultimately, this woman ends up grabbing an axe, she chops her computer to death, and ends up in a hospital of sorts. All of these Granny PC bumpers give off this very surreal and eerie feeling that can make anyone motionless and white when exposed. I couldn't tell you who this actress is or who even came up with the idea for these bumpers, but what I will say is that all 10 of the Granny bumps are available on bumpworthy.com if you would like to check them out. Japanese robots. Just when you thought that Adult Swim bumpers couldn't get any weirder, they find a way. Back in the day, the network displayed some bumpers featuring Japanese robots that would make strange facial expressions or crawl on the ground. In total, there were 3 Japanese robot bumpers. The first bumper features a head making what appears to be happy and sad faces. The second bumper features a robot which appears to resemble a young child. And the third and final bumper features a businessman crawling on its hands and knees in a busy city. If you're someone with automatonophobia, then these bumpers will probably make you sick to the stomach. Personally, I don't have that particular phobia, but seeing these robots and how they closely resemble real humans gives me a feeling of unease. However, these robots aren't that scary once you learn about their background. A video uploaded back in 2008 by a channel titled Broadband TV Tech TV displayed the robot head. The description of the video states that this Japanese humanoid robot is named Kansei and is able to smile or frown in response to different words. This robot on screen goes by Ripley R1. I probably didn't say that right, but it was modeled after a young girl. Lastly, this crawling robot is titled Miyata Jiro, and it was created by a Japanese performance artist named Momoyo Torimitsu. This footage was recorded in Sydney, Australia during a display. I'll tell you what, these robots are pretty cool, but they also definitely fall into the uncanny valley. Saved by the Bell. The classic American sitcom Saved by the Bell had a brief stint on Adult Swim, airing for 2 weeks beginning on April 18th, 2006 at 12 a.m. During this time, the network created some commercials to promote the show, and golly gee fucking willikers, those bumpers were scary. The bumpers just featured clips from the show that were altered. These bumpers are pretty funny to me now, but back in the day, and I've told this story like a million times here on the channel now, but I spent those 2 weeks watching the George Lopez show on Nick at Night just to avoid the Saved by the Bell bumpers. The George Lopez opening used to scare me as a kid as well, but not as bad as these bumpers did. Hot, 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 hot. The final bumper on our list today is the Hot, 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 Hot bump. Hot, 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 Hot is a 20-second black and white bumper which features a woman dancing to a very catchy Eastern European song with inaccurate subtitles on the bottom of the screen. The subtitles in the video read, "Adult Swim is adult who is good swim. You loves it Adult Swim for shows joy largely. Hot, 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 hot. The world is in love with an adult of swim, and well, with adults also dances swim. Hot, 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 hot. I think I'm having a stroke. The song which plays in the background of this bump is titled Dance Song by an artist known as G. Ivanov. The footage of the woman dancing is taken from the 1940s and features a person named Alice Bryce as she performs her jungle drums burlesque dance. The only part of this bumper that I really can't explain, and is ultimately the reason why I was terrified of this bumper as a child, was the hot 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 segment. I'm not entirely sure if this footage is also of Alice or if it's another dancer from that period or if it's something entirely different, but Jesus, the human body is weird. Rewatching this bumper now, although the hot 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 part still doesn't quite sit right with me, it's a pretty silly bumper. Well, there you have it. 7 creepy Adult Swim bumpers that'll make you say, ah. If you guys enjoyed this video, then leave a like and comment down below if you would like maybe a part 2 to this video, because there are tons of other creepy Adult Swim bumpers that we could talk about for future videos. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new around here. Click the bell icon to be notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. Follow me on all of my social links and join my Discord server. The links are in the bio below. Have a fantastic day, everyone, but please remember that robots are pretty cool.